Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Gerard Dache. I'm the executive director of the Government Blockchain Association. I said good morning, but we've got folks coming in from all over the world, and I'd like to welcome everybody to this very first inaugural event, which is Blockchain and Liberty for All. This is actually what will be our strategic planning session. So if we continue on the same schedule that we're looking at doing, which is essentially having a big global meeting in September, and then several months prior to that having a strategic planning meeting. We're still a fairly young organization, and we're kind of getting into our rhythm in terms of events and how we do things. But the purpose of this event today is really to tell you guys where we've come from, where we've been. It's really intended to be somewhat of a leadership meeting. We did not really try to market this as a place where new people were coming. They're just learning about blockchain. Most of the folks in attendance today are folks that have been in a leadership capacity with GBA for a year or more, or they're members that have been working with us to help kind of build the mission and the vision. And so I'll get into a little bit about what we're doing and why we're doing it and all that stuff. But first, before I go any further, I want to thank all the folks that have made this possible. I want to thank Matt Falk from Easy Expo. He's been hanging in there with us for a while through a lot of growing pains and stuff. And so he's been making his technology available to us. And so if you guys have any events that you all are planning, by all means, please check out Easy Expo, and you get to play around with it during this event. I'd like to thank Rob Perry. So Robert Perry is he's a volunteer. He's been with us since literally just about the very beginning. He works for Jacobs, a big engineering firm, and just recently recognized for many of his achievements. But he's been the director. He's essentially director of program management. And if you haven't spoken with him already, I'm sure you will. So his responsibilities for all of these big major events that we're doing, lining up all the expertise and taking care of all that sort of stuff. I'd like to thank Jovan Marjanovic. He is the leader of our global, he's the director of global operations. So all of our chapters around the world essentially are under his guidance. And so this is a big component of what we're going to talk about today. I'd like to thank Jordan. Jordan been with us literally since the very first meetup that we did, and he's just done whatever needed to be done. So he's been instrumental in helping us get our website up and running, and is now producing YouTube videos and everything like that. And there's so many other people I'd like to mention. I just don't have time to do that. But anyway, let me. So for all of you who have worked to help GBA become what it is, I want to thank you, and I'm excited about where we're going together. Now, in terms of where we're going from here, or why we're here. So I did mention that we want to test out this technology. The first FOMOGL event we did was in March of 2019. It was at Georgetown University. It was a classroom of maybe, I don't know, 30 or 40 people. And when I say FOMOGL, I mean the future of money governance and the law. And we had a big multimedia setup. We were going to live stream, and it was kind of a disaster, right? That was in March of 2019. In September 2019, 6 months later, our next event, the future of money governance, the law, we attempted to do this. We attempted to do it with Easy Expo as well, but we had all kinds of problems with the venue, the internet connection. It also was pretty much a disaster, right? In January of 2020, we did our first FOMOGL. So this was about 4 months after the first one we did at the United States Capitol, and that one was much better. And then today we're looking to test out this technology, because our next big event in September will be a 5-day event. It will occur in many different locations: Library of Commerce, the British Embassy, the Embassy of Bahrain, many other government buildings, the Washington, D.C. Attorney General's office, and the United States Capitol. It's going to be a much larger, more complex event, and we're flying leaders in from all over the world to participate in that. So it's really important that we test this technology out. Love to get your feedback. Try the different things. By all means, let us know what you like, what you don't like. We'll pass it along to Matt, and we'll get that squared away. in addition to testing the technology out, another reason why we're here is we are a member-driven organization. And if you haven't done so already, if you go to the GBA ethics statement on our about page, um, it talks about what we believe in. And from the very beginning, we wanted to make it clear that we were an international organization that really welcomed and brought people in from you know, all governments, all people groups, uh, from the wide collection of humanity that have very different opinions and ideas. But we believe that blockchain essentially was a technology that could bring people together, and and that we wanted an organization that essentially was going to elevate all people. And we also wanted one that was really centered on sort of, inclusion, democracy, participative, right? And so we wanted to be a member-driven organization, which is part of why our goal is to eventually become a DAO, right? We don't want to be a dictatorship or be a sort of command and control. We really want to embody the ideals of blockchain and really have an organization built on consensus and participation and inclusion. And towards that end, we need to hear from you. So we have a responsibility as a leadership team to share with you what we've done, where we're going, what we're building, how you can participate. But we really need you to share with us, um, uh, your insights and how we can best serve you, right? So the way we're going to do this is while we have speakers set up for today, we're going to open the floor and invite those of you who are participating to essentially come up onto the stage and share your thoughts and ideas and your criticisms, right? This is not intended to be an event where we're trying to impress you with all the great things that we've done. We recognize that uh, to a large degree, we're still in startup mode. We've got a lot of holes. We have a lot of things that we need to fix. We're proud of many of our accomplishments, but we still have a long way to go. And we're looking for you to join us in that journey. But you can't join us in that journey unless you know kind of what's really going on. So when it comes to our finances, our infrastructure, our successes, our failures, my goal in this is that we can be as transparent as we can with you, hear from you, what you like, what you don't like, where you'd like to see us commit our resources, and, um, and really use this opportunity to help us gather the input we need so we can put together a strategic plan and then essentially release that strategic plan in September when we're at the Global Government Blockchain Week. So let me talk to you just a little. So that's why we're here. Really, it's about to test out the technology, to share with you where we are, where we've come from, and to receive your input so we can put together our strategic plan and get that out globally. So let me talk a little bit about where we've come from, um, and I'll share a little bit of my personal story in that. So. Uh, from 2005 to 2017, yeah, I essentially had a career where I was traveling around the world, evaluating different companies to assess their technology to determine whether or not they could win these large government contracts. And in doing that, towards the end of my career, I started to identify some fraud and corruption, and um, and I was surprised at how deep it ran. And when I attempted to surface it, the net result is I lost all of my credentials, both personal and corporate credentials. And and so I found myself in October 2017 with with really all dressed up and nowhere to go. Prior to that, my son had bought a couple dollars worth of cryptocurrency, and when he sold them, he did pretty well, to the tune of, I think he did very well. And so it kind of got my attention. Uh, we had started a meetup, and when I lost my credentials, we had a meetup of about 40 people in a bar in Arlington. And I said, well, we need to make this work. So at that point, we had gone out to a couple folks and asked them for funding and support, but nobody knew anything about GBA, heard of us. They kind of patted us on the head and said, go ahead and run along. We'll see if you're around in 5 years. So I said to my running buddy at the time, Dan Callahan, I said, Dan, we're not going to ask another person for a dime, and we're not going to ask anybody for anything. What we're going to do is we're going to put our head down and we're going to run so fast and so hard, and then when we get down the road a piece, we'll look around and we'll see who's with us. And so from that point, we worked 6 a.m. till 1 or 2 a.m. Monday through Saturday to get this thing off the ground. And and then at a certain point, I turned around and I looked around and I saw who was running with us, and it was interesting. It wasn't it wasn't the big successful folks with a lot of money who were already in the space. It was a bunch of folks with incredible hearts, with incredible work ethics, and these were all folks that were trying to do something. And when I look around at the caliber of the leaders that we have in GBA, and you'll meet many of them today, and I don't want to even start mentioning names because it's a long list. I've become very humbled at at this group of people, at this group of people who have used their own time. We're mostly a volunteer organization, um, but they've achieved incredible things, and they've achieved incredible things because they wanted to do it. And one of my colleagues has said, Gerard, if we had the money, we never could have built this kind of an organization. This is definitely an organization with heart, with drive, and we've had people come and go, but the folks that have stuck around, um, I just can't tell you enough about them. So we launched about 120 chapters globally in a very short amount of time. We launched about 50 working groups, um, lots of different resources, all kinds of projects. You'll hear many about them today. But then the pandemic hit, and when you have 120 chapters that are all built on monthly meetings and they stop meeting, um, it's kind of hard. So the pandemic was hard on us in terms of our global chapters, and it's a big component of why we're here today is because we need to rebuild our global organizations, our local presence, right? And so we're going to ask you guys to work with Jovan and his team to help do that. But what worked out really great for us is we really developed a very strong online presence, and we started doing all kinds of Zoom meetings on all kinds of topics. And our meetings were different than other people's meetings because because while other people had sort of a command and control kind of one way direction, let me bring up the experts and have them pontificate with you about how smart they are. Ours were much more participative. They were open dialogues, and in some cases turned into a food fight. Um, but they were very rich, and I can't tell you how many people came up to us and said how much they thanked us and appreciate us for creating that space, that dialogue, where people could connect, communicate, and collaborate. Now today, as we've been planning this out, we weren't able to do the technology and configure everything, based on the way we wanted to in terms of have that as open a dialogue as possible. So what we're going to do today is, like I said, if you want to get up on the stage, what I need you to do is send a chat to GBA Global. That's actually Jordan Dashay. Send it, a, or actually no, I think yeah, you have to send a chat to GBA Global, and then he will invite you onto the stage. It's essentially it's logging into a Zoom account, and we're going to invite you on the stage so you can address all the folks that are participating. So we'll have our leaders sort of sharing with you some information about what they've got going on, where they're planning going on. Then we'll open it up to you so that you can jump on the stage and say, hey, listen, I think that's a great idea, or I think that's a terrible idea. Have you thought about doing this? I'm going to ask you to keep your remarks fairly brief, and we'll keep that chat running so that you can share thoughts and ideas. We're recording all of this, so we're then going to consolidate all this information, build that into a strategic plan, and then roll that out. And that's our way of essentially trying to be an organization that's driven by the membership as opposed to the top down. And so that's kind of where we are today. Um, where we're going is GBA is really building a fabric of people and technology. We have we have members in 500 different government organizations. at the local, state, national, and international levels. And it's just incredible. If you look on our page under association, you go down to members government, you'll see just a listing of some of them, and literally it will blow your mind. And so, and and when we go to interact with folks in government, we're not interacting with people at the top of government, right? We're interacting with people in the middle of government. So the types of folks that really are in their sweet spot to in our organization are really those program managers, right? The people that have budgets, the people that are actually managing and leading projects. Because as a business league, what we're attempting to do is serve the members of our organization in two ways. If you're a government member, right, and membership is free for anybody in government, then we want to help you have access to high quality blockchain products and services to meet public service needs or public sector needs. If you are a vendor, we want to get you access to those people in government that are looking for high quality, high value blockchain products and services, right? So we want to get you guys connected, and we want to do it in such a way that it interconnects, interoperates, it's connected, coordinated globally, so that we don't have a whole bunch of stovepipes. So that's really what we're all about, is to get the public sector and the private sector to connect together, build out technologies that are not stovepipe, that are integrated. And you'll hear from our CTO, Mark Wasser, a little bit later about doing that. And then building an infrastructure that rewards people for their contributions, and create a management structure that is driven by the members of the organization in an open, decentralized fashion with lots of integrity. So that's a little bit about where we're going. And what I'd like to do is open the floor. If anybody's got comments, questions, or anything like that, I got about 14 minutes that I would love to just entertain your questions and hear what you have to say. So Jordan, and again, this is sort of our first time at trying to do this. If anybody would like to have the stage, please send a text message in the.
Gerard, I'm not in the Easy Expo chat.
Oh, you're not? Okay. Well, then I tell you what. I'm going to figure out how to do this. We're going to have to, again, this is our first time doing this. So I see 3 new messages. Well, I am in the Easy Expo chat. So hello everybody, it's a pleasure to be here. So Jordan, I tell you what, how about if I put the link to the, why don't I put a link to the Zoom account here, and then if anybody would like to come in, they can come in. How does that sound?
We'll give it a shot.
We'll give it a shot. All right. So I just put the Zoom link in. What you'll have to do is, if you come into the Zoom, you'll have to mute the audio in the live stream, so that you don't get a lot of background noise. But if anybody would like to ask any questions or make any comments, feel free to hit that link, and Jordan will take care of you. What I'm going to do until we have any of that is I can share my screen, Jordan, correct?
Correct.
All right, so give me a second. There it is. Share screen. All right. So I just want to share a couple things about the website in terms of how it exists today. For those of you who have not seen where we currently have chapters, this is currently the map of where we have chapters around the world. And again, a big part of today is we want to try to strengthen this after coming out of the pandemic session. And basically, what the expectations of the chapter is they create a local community of government, public, and private sector folks, and they interoperate with the working groups, right? So the working groups is where we get need access to opening remarks. The working group is where we get the expertise, right? Now, Under association, if you go to the bottom where it says working groups, we have over 50 working groups. And if you have not joined a working group yet, please do. I would say at any given point in time, we would have about 20 to 25% of the working groups are actively involved. About 20 to 25% of the working groups are active on a project. So there's kind of an ebb and flow in all the projects. Just as an example, I'll show you some of the stuff that the working groups are doing. So we have a lot of working groups doing a lot of stuff, but the tax working group just recently finished a report. And in this report, it's about a 138-page report. And it was put together by experts from around the world, which include sort of notes. It's called the impact of cryptocurrency adoption on government. And this report was put together by the head of the task risk of the Ministry of Finance, Tax Administration of Croatia. Mark Montoya is the GBA's chief data officer. He's also works over at FDIC. But we had experts from around the world, data scientists from Germany, Australia, all over the world, put this report together, and it is filled with data. We took information from block explorers, from financial reporting systems, and looked at the size, trajectory, and velocity of the cryptocurrency space and its impact on government's ability to collect taxes, manage their economies, manage debt. We looked at it from a global perspective. So it's this is just an example of some of the work that the working groups are doing, and we'll have folks come in and talk to you about a lot of other things. Some working groups are putting together training materials and training standards. Some of them are building technology. Some are putting together white papers and different things. But what we want to do is we want to take the expertise from the working groups, and we want also, if you're a GBA member and you're in a chapter, we also want you in working groups because you are the bridge between that local chapter and the expertise in these different working groups. And so that's what we're attempting to do there. And the working groups have they have a charter, right? They're building something. They're creating something. Communities of interest, and it's under association down here to communities of interest. These are just the places where people connect, communicate, and collaborate, right? And so, as an example, Oki Mek, who's the Chief Artificial Intelligence Officer for U.S. Health and Human Services, they meet every month. I think it's the first week of every month, and talk lessons learned about how governments can use AI in an ethical and effective way. We've got our government regulators group, and they meet, and they've got regulators from all over the world in that group to talk about how regulation is impacting what they're doing and everything. So it is really pretty incredible. Okay. All right. So there's that, and then under resources, a couple of places I want to point you out to that's fairly new. Under resources, if you come down to videos, Jordan has been doing just an incredible job of collecting content from many of the different activities we have, putting on videos. And we want to do this for two reasons. One, we want to promote GBA members. So only GBA members are invited to speak at GBA events. And then secondly, we want to be able to create value for the community outside of GBA. Right. And if we can create value for the community outside of GBA, bring them here and use this to showcase the great work and the expertise that GBA members have, then we're really serving our members. In addition to, and you'll learn more about this a little bit later, once we put content up, whether it is video content, whether it's one of our blogs, calendar events, anything like that. So under resources, blogs, we have publications. Whatever it is, and it's a lot, we have over 8 gigs worth of information on the site. We then have a social media and a communications outreach team, which includes some pretty incredible people. We've got folks on that team that are very, very close with with both Democratic and Republican administrations, folks that have written the biography of Bill Clinton. We've got folks that are very, very close to General Wesley Clark and sort of the top strata. On that side, we have the Vice President of Communications from Fox News. Um, just just incredible people that have come and said, I really like what you guys are doing. I really respect it. I appreciate it. And how can I help? And what's really fascinating is when you look at people that are here from very, very sort of different um, political, philosophical. I mean, I could tell you about some of the differences of opinion, but in this environment, it's amazing how we come together. And I'm not sure how it happened, but I'm incredibly blessed.